Information fueled.
Opinion driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
506. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on in to your Wednesday, March 5th of 2025. And man, I have so much audio to play for you. A lot of reaction to Donald Trump's speech last night. I think, though, there was a lot of defining moments last night with President Donald Trump's speech. But I did find this particular moment really to personify the entire evening.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
Nope. Democrats couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Go to YouTube and watch the radio program there on YouTube. Take the Daily Dan poll, and I think it's a very good, Jones here with us, of course. I think we've got a great question today for the Daily Dan poll.
All right.
What is the bigger story this morning? Donald Trump's terrific speech, and I'm going to go through why I believe that it was a terrific speech. Donald Trump's terrific speech, or the Democrats' reaction to Donald Trump's speech.
That really is a big story.
It is a big story. It is a huge story. So we're gonna get into all of this because it is stunning the things that the Democrats literally would not stand and applaud for. So we're going to get into all of that and a whole lot more.
This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
And I love how he just, right in the beginning, that was in the first, I think, couple of minutes of the speech. And he basically set the tone for the evening because he knew that they would refuse to applaud for, say, for example, a 13-year-old with cancer. Do you know what I mean? There were so many really epic moments that I want to share with you. There was that moment, a little 13-year-old boy battling cancer, and Donald Trump last night made him an honorary Secret Service agent. This was an amazing moment.
Oh, it was.
I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Amazing. And the look on this kid's face, he's shocked.
And his dad, too.
His dad, too.
Yeah.
And there was, again, a moment where he turned around and he hugged Sean Curry. And it was an amazing, that's where he turned around and hugged Curry. Just an amazing moment. Democrats sitting on their butts like they're sucking on a bunch of lemons. I mean, how do you not applaud for that? How do you not stand up for that? How do you not show some kind of emotion? And this, I love that. By the way, did you notice last night there was a lot of chants of USA, USA?
Oh, yeah.
And so the Democrats, again, just sitting there. And that really was the theme of the night. By the way, this little kid, his name was DJ. And they had a nice little interview piece with DJ. And this is part of what he had to say. Just an incredible kid.
Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries. And that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They have 5 months to live. I'm going to keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's going to call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. And I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
I mean, just how do you not applaud for that? But not only that, not only did the Democrats not applaud for this 13-year-old boy with terminal cancer, but I want to highlight a piece of audio. Follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. I actually tweeted this out. Horrifying, repugnant moment from Nicole Wallace. Now, you know Nicole Wallace, she is on MSNBC, and they were talking about this moment. I want you to listen to how Nicole Wallace describes this moment on MSNBC.
And I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
I'd like to thank Nicole Wallace for this viral moment. Because you do. You want to thank these people. You want to thank them for their silly little bingo signs, the little auctioneer kind of signs that they had, that they were holding. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they had these little signs. And the signs would say, they're like little signs of protest. And they would say, like false, or Elon steals was another one. Rashida Tlaib actually had a dry erase board, which, the thing about Rashida Tlaib and the dry erase board, at least she could change the message. And so this whole thing was made for social media. And so for me, when I thank Nicole Wallace for her comments regarding this tragic 13-year-old little boy with cancer, terminal cancer, I'm thanking her because she is exposing the Democrats and how repugnant and vile they really are. I mean, listen, if you're going to be repugnant and vile, if you're going to be disgusting and you're going to be so amazingly partisan, even when it comes to a 13-year-old boy that Donald Trump is honoring as an everyday hero, then thank you, Nicole Wallace, for reinforcing what is clearly an attitude that is the exact opposite of where the American people are today. Because by and large, the majority of the American people who watched that speech last night in front of the joint session of Congress by President Donald Trump, people loved it. I mean, it was like 80-20. And I know we keep talking about 80-20, where Donald Trump is on the 80% side of some of these issues, where 80% of the American people are on board with, for example, a secure border and deporting, murdering, raping, pillaging illegal aliens. And the Democrats are the 20% who want to keep them in this country stunningly. And so last night's speech, I think, was another example. And so when Nicole Wallace and some of these Democrats said what they said and did what they did, it just reinforced how absolutely insane this party is. So thank you to Nicole Wallace. Thank you to Rashida Tlaib. Thank you to the Democrats for once again exposing how completely out of touch you are with the American people. It is. So you had on these little bingo signs, you had pay your taxes, you had just the word false, and you had Elon steals. And again, you had Rashida Tlaib with the dry erase board. So now here's what's great. What's great is social media has now taken these still images of the Democrats with their little signs, and they have, of course, superimposed other messages. Like, for example, if you see Rashida Tlaib with her dry erase board, the dry erase board now says, "I'm an idiot," or "I'm special," in a short bus kind of way. They have Ilhan Omar, one of them that says, "married her brother." I mean, it just goes on. And even MSNBC lost it on the bingo signs.
How they gonna snatch it back, Michael, when they holding up bingo or auction signs?
I was gonna say, well, thank you, Simone.
Can we talk about it?
The bingo signs were killing me. I don't know who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael, this is an indictment, in my opinion, on the Democratic leadership.
Yeah, she's actually absolutely right. Right, Simone Sanders. She's right. Whose idea was that? Inquiring minds want to know. Because everywhere you turned, on whether CNN or MSNBC, they were bashing the Democrats. There is a moment on CNN, and this is Democrat strategist David Axelrod and Scott Jennings. and they're talking about how bad the Democrats looked last night.
At some point, you got to stop blaming Joe Biden, and you're going to be accountable. And, he must have met Biden a dozen times in his speech.
I mean, the X, I love you. You guys were blaming George W. Bush in year 8 of the Obama presidency.
No, but you know something, Scott, we learned something from that. We learned something from that.
He's been in office for 40-something days. I am hearing a lot of cope. These social issues, you know why he talks about them? Because they work. They're like 80-20 issues, and he's on the right side of them, and Democrats are on the wrong side of them. It worked in the campaign, and nobody... Oh, he's not talking about the right things. It worked in the inaugural. It's working in the executive orders. It's why he put it in the speech tonight. And on immigration, you're exactly right. It's his #1 achievement so far. The border's effectively closed. The line of the night was they kept saying we need new legislation to secure the border, but it turns out all we really needed was a new president. Without question, in my mind, top scoring.
I just have to say, I feel
and then,
like,
of course, all the hectoring begins. But, I loved with David Axelrod. I love the beginning of this soundbite.
At some point, you got to stop blaming Joe Biden, and you're going to be accountable. And, he must have met Biden a dozen times.
Joe Biden was in office only, 5-6 weeks ago. And Trump is spending all of this time, of course, because that's what he needs to do. But he's going to spend the next 4 years cleaning up after Joe Biden. And so, of course, he is going to talk about Joe Biden, because a big part of what the discussion was tonight is about how the progress that Donald Trump has made in a very short amount of time to clean up on aisle America. Because right now, what Trump is doing and has been doing is fixing the damage that has been done over the last 4 years. So yeah, David Axelrod, part of the goal last night, I believe, for President Trump was to make sure that the American people knew why it is that we're in the mess that we're in. And it's because of the Democrats and their failed policies. Because here's the deal, and I'll talk to Scott DesJarlais about this, Congressman Scott DesJarlais at 7:35. But really, what is going on right now, the battle for the midterm elections starts right now. And it's a battle about policy, it is a battle about narrative, and it is a battle about results. Now, what did Joe Biden in the last 4 years, when he was in office, what kind of results did we get from Joe Biden? And I don't mean to relitigate all of this, because we know the results we got, and they were crap. High illegal immigration, murderous, raping, pillaging illegal aliens coming into our country and killing American citizens. We had up over 9% inflation, horrible foreign policy, DEI all over the place. And so if we're going to talk about results, let's talk about results. Because in the issue with the border and illegal aliens and all that, Trump has closed the border. And he is, of course, getting rid of all of those raping, murdering, pillaging illegal aliens. And so part of this is he's defining, last night, Donald Trump, he defined the problems, and he also defined himself as the solution. Because guess what? Donald Trump last night was talking about how, yes, he is finding solutions to these problems, which is exactly what the American people hired him to do. They fired the Democrat Party. They fired Joe Biden. They fired Kamala Harris. And here we are, of course, already in 6 weeks, seeing the results that we are. It is 5:21 on Nashville's Morning News.